Hello, beautiful souls, and this is your psychic advisor, Micah. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and let's start this reading on Adam Levine's natal chart. So, I'm really glad that I have decided halfway through, as a true Aquarian spirit, to do this differently, because initially I was going to select different people of different sun signs and like walk through the zodiac, like do a sun Pisces celebrity, do a sun Aquarius celebrity, do a sun and Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, etc., Taurus, Gemini, um, Aries celebrity. But I've decided now to only do Pisces, Sun Pisces celebrities because it was so difficult for me to select just one. And I think that's actually a really good way to do it because now I get to analyze the different risings in connection to the Sun in Pisces, because that's pretty much what I look at in initial natal chart readings. So the um the Justin Bieber one is like rising Scorpio. Chapel Roan is rising Libra. I just did one for William Drayton Jr., better known as Flavor Flav, who does not have rising sign information. So that kind of tells you what you can expect in a natal chart reading when you don't have rising sign information, or your um, birth information. But this one is about Adam Levine, and he is a Sun Pisces, um, and he has a rising Leo. So this is basically like the Pisces rising Leo video, or just like rising Leo video as well. Kind of cool that I'm doing this way. I'm kind of amazing. So having a first house in Leo means like this is a person who uh has like a happy, joyful disposition, looks like a happy person, probably has like an easy time smiling, especially as that might be something difficult for someone with a sun in Pisces. Um, Rising Leo to me, I mean, it's like it's kind of difficult to say without it being like so very obvious that Adam Levine and Maroon 5 sort of have this somewhat of a um I'm at the beach sort of feeling. I don't know how to say that. Like very like 1950s surfer movie Hickadula. Like I don't know how to say it other than like what you might already think of him, because it's his rising and it's part of his appearance, and we were very aware of his appearance. Um, but then this also says, because of the rising Leo, that his appearance, his most likely his hairdo, um, the tattoos that he has a lot to do with his self-esteem, and his connection to his father. So I know, like, just like in life, people go on these arcs, whether if it's to be like the greatest at this or the best at that. And for whatever reason, because of like, whatever, I guess, so says this birth chart information or rising Leo, that a lot of the arcs that he's been going on in his life, especially with his like outward appearance and his looks, stem from a relationship to his father and his like father's side of the family. And his, but I guess looking at his second house of Virgo, his greatest resource, or his biggest priority, has always been like his health and education. So maybe it's like there are certain things he's done for his looks, maybe things like plastic surgery that go against like what he knows about life. and things that he's like studied before in the past. And I think that a lot of Pisces have this sort of, especially dealing with like Virgo energy, dealing with like how much do you conform to society versus stay true to your spiritual beliefs about your power and how much information about yourself that you give away. Uh, and then, then in his third house of Libra, so I haven't really talked about any planets. Okay, so dial it back real quick. Sorry. Second house of Virgo got Saturn in that second house as well, and his North Node. So even so, like I guess like especially financially for him, uh, his outward appearance like creates limits. So this is sort of what I saw in the Justin Bieber natal chart reading as well. Um, even even though his rising is different, but it's a sense of like I guess in combination with the planets, it shows that like his outward appearance causes limitations with his finances. So it's like the way he looks limits how much money he can has the potential to make, or his like appeal in certain markets. I guess based on his career. Um, but these are like it's with the North Node there, it's like sort of like his destiny to overcome that. And then his third house of Libra. So third house in Libra for him especially, it says so in um like he writes love songs, you know what I mean? So like he speaks relationships into existence. Third house is what you're speaking into existence. It's your environment. Libra is business relationships, love relationships, romance, partnership, the planet Venus, roses, jewels, things like that, right? So, I think he even has like a wedding song. So like it's like he sings relationships into existence. So if you're the type of person who thinks that all people, especially celebrity singers, are some sort of like spellcaster or whatever that is, I guess he's a trustworthy one because listening to his music summons stronger relationships for people, especially with what I believe is um, Pluto in the third house as well, or it's like yeah, it's in third house as well, and this also says to me that like he also like changes relationships. So maybe like he has like a lot of breakup songs and he has a lot of like so like if you're single he changes your relationship to from being single to being in a couple. If you're in a couple and you need like help with the transition from being in a couple to being a single person, like his music is really good for that, or his voice is really good in healing that. And then with a fourth house in Scorpio, this says that his home life and his connection to his mother and his internal feelings are that of remorse and like retribution, retaliation, often reconciliation as well. Um, and that uh, somewhat of like a toxic environment, over sexualized, and then even for myself, like thinking about like forgiveness for just like older generations and my mother and things like that, like thinking about like the vulgar music that kind of just like snuck by onto the radio that got into that sort of like became to like corrupt children and things like that, and even like artists trying to compete, making music or money or art or whatever it is in a world, because I also just did that Flavor Flav video that was like so oversaturated with inauthenticity. Like I think about like what kind of self-esteem does a society have, being in competition with a reality television show like The Swan, where they're like giving away cheap plastic surgery on television like it's the Wheel of Fortune. Um, so I think like that's something that kind of might be on his mind, especially with what I see being here as Neptune in his fourth house as well, which not Neptune, I'm sorry, Uranus. I literally just said like the wrong one. Uranus. Uranus and the moon. So it's like his emotions, uh, Uranus, the moon, and Scorpio. So like his emotions about like society and being humanitarian, right? Because like Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius, which is the um, sign of humanitarianism and like thinking about what's best for the world and society and how we can like make a change. And it like weighs down on his heart and emotions, like like how Pisces be about like the environment and society and stuff. Um, but then moving right along to his fifth house. So the fifth house, as if you've listened to any of my videos before or have ever gotten a reading from me, is where I always say is like detours and distractions. And so this is Sagittarius for him. So um, in comparison to the Justin Bieber reading that I did with him having the rising Scorpio, him having and saying that having Sagittarius in his second house, meaning that competitions would bring him a lot of money and claim and attention. For him, I see that competitions are somewhat like as a distraction or an obstacle, which is because I initially was only going to do one Pisces video, and these energies were never really going to collide in my analysis. But I think Adam Levine not a judge on like The Voice or something like that. So that for him, I guess, is somewhat of like a distraction, and also in combination with um, and that might not even be true. I'm just like assuming. I feel like it's like what John Legend and Ariana Grande and Gwen Stefani, and in some timeline in my mind, accurate or inaccurate, Adam Levine is also a judge on a show similar to that somewhere. I think maybe. And there's also Neptune in Sagittarius. So it's like, especially like Neptune, like I said, is like the planet of illusions, which is like movie magic, television magic. So maybe there's like this arc with him where he like wants to do movies or television, but it's like I always say, like a tempting or a sexy distraction from whatever he's actually supposed to be doing, which I don't know, is like being a wedding singer or like um, singing relationships and singing the world into peace and harmony and love, and singing John Lennon songs and creating a world without borders or something like that. And yes, that's his fifth house, and then his sixth house. So the sixth house is what I always tell people is what I say is going to help you overcome whatever obstacles you are facing in your fifth house, and that is Capricorn. So that very plainly says to me that like focusing on business and how to like uh, accurately or appropriately scale and manage a business is what's going to be best for him. Because also I was doing more research on Flavor Flav, which is so funny that I would make a Flavor Flav video, record it, upload it, do research on him, do an Adam Levine video, and then have the Adam Levine video be mainly about all the research that I didn't do on Flavor Flav, like what his actual name was and other things. But I think I don't know, I just think that's like a little, some people would just say that I'm unorganized. I would say that there's some type of reason or purpose for that. Um, but I don't know, maybe he might have some type of like Bachelor Flavor Flav esque Tenchi Muyo harem reality television show as a sexy distraction. Because, like I was saying, just to dial it back, that this back into his fifth house, uh, Neptune sort of rules like television and movies, and then in his sixth house of what's supposed to heal him, what's supposed to bring him more work and financial harmony in his life is like this Capricorn energy of scaling and managing a business. Um, that might be some type of like I said, television show. Okay, that's like Flavor Flav esque. And there's some other things about Flavor Flav that I wanted to add. I kind of like lost my train of thought, which happens sometimes, and that's why I keep these natal. That's why I like the natal charts, and it is sometimes easier having two minds doing the reading as well that can like reel me back in. But just some other things that his chart is reminding me of that I just saw in my, like I said, scatterbrained remixed reading of his is that like implementing things of like punk rock elements of punk rock in his music, Flavor Flav's music, would make his music stronger. And then I was like listening to some of his music, and it was like Bring the Noise with Anthrax, the band with the guy with the beard, and I was like, oh, he's already doing that. So like, there's just maybe he might start doing like punk rock or something too, and maybe they start working together. Maybe they'll all be on The Voice together. Who knows? Or American Idol. Who knows? Something like that could or would be really good for him. But I also think he's already doing that. Okay. So his seventh house of like what he's attracting, what he like. I say in the natal chart reading, the seventh house is your manifestation superpower. Also, like sort of like your third house as well. So it could even be like singing at his friends' weddings, or them playing his music at his friends' weddings with this seventh house in Aquarius, and also Venus in Aquarius too. So this amplifies or boosts that third house ability of being able to sing relationships into existence, and being able to change and manipulate relationships based on the sound of his voice. Um, and also like being a judge, which I'm sure my next. So if you watch my next video on whomever that might be, I'll probably have the research of like, yes, he's on The Voice or something, and yada yada. But it's like also he has the ability to, as a judge on a show, like Libra is like judge or courtroom, but it's not really like a courtroom. It's The Voice, and he has the ability to change people's relationships with this voice, or give them or grant them friends or attract friends into their life, which is something that I also said in the Flavor Flav video. That's something a superpower or supernatural ability that Flavor Flav has as well. Um, William Drayton Jr. And that's something that he has the ability to do as well. But it comes through or is like articulated in his chart differently, but it's still the same and similar. Okay, and then so in his eighth house, he has an eighth house in Pisces, which is pretty awesome. It says that he probably has like some occult knowledge. He has a lot of spiritual knowledge. Perhaps like the tattoos he has are properly feng shuied. And there's also a Mars in Pisces. So he's the type of person that if he ever balls up his fist, he probably has like tears in his eyes as well, which can probably come from like frustration, uh, loneliness. But it's like from this aggressive environment in his life that has caused this isolation. This is also where he's gotten like the knowledge of how to protect himself. So it's like if he were to have been born in Candyland, where everything is all great and groovy all the time, he wouldn't be strong enough to evolve and live in choppier waters as a Pisces. And then, so that's the eighth house. And then, so his ninth house of Aries, this kind of like talks about this too. It's like kind of like getting street smart or being street smart. Having your higher education come from like the military or the government. And you'd be surprised too. Like I said, like you're gonna watch some other video that I do, and it's gonna have like my research of Adam Levine in it, and because I didn't know, like I did some like research on Adam Driver, and he went to like Juilliard and was like a Marine, and I had no idea, and I just thought it was like some people you would never know that were in the military were in the military. And yeah, so like nine house Aries, it's like some type of like militarized higher education, or travel. So they could even be like performing with like USO, like performing for the military, being the leader of his band. It's very ninth house and Aries. Also it says that like because of his rising Leo, typically like fire signs get along, but for like long term relationships, long distance travel, long term relationships for him personally, or the other rising Leos out there, Aries would be a good match for that. Especially with this Mercury, he might like date like a lot of people who are Aries. Um, this Mercury in Aries like talks to a lot of Aries because they move quickly or something. They have like a good communication style or similar communication style. And in his 10th house of Taurus, so his like 10th house of Taurus is like it's sort of like his destiny to be like very rich or to maybe like own a farm one day. Um, but Chiron in Taurus, like I said, sort of says to me that like he might be able to help other people buy property, and bring financial abundance into other people's lives, but that might be something that he has difficulty with. So I don't know about the financial futures about contestants on The Voice or whatever other stuff that he does, or the members of his band, or whatever people he's in contact with. But it's almost like he has the ability to grant people friends and give them homes, and that might be something that he struggles with his self. Uh, or even like maybe just like feeling comfortable with those energies. Especially being like somewhat of like at his core and his root, like somewhat of like an emotional hippie humanitarian. And in his 11th house of Gemini, so this might even like talk about like his struggles with friends and friendship. That he has like he himself has the vibration of a Gemini. So uh, he's from Los Angeles, California. So like that's sort of like what I was trying to say in the first house, where I was just like he just kind of has like a beachy, I'm from California vibe about him, which is true because that's what it says there. Um, but what I'm trying to say is that sorry to take such a long pause, but like what I'm trying to say is that with this what I'm seeing is like the 11th house in Gemini is that his connection to like so I'm trying to look at like his like numerology and see what I see here. Path 11. Okay, so like something I just wanted to like double check, but I guess I'm wrong. So like this 11th house in Gemini though, it just sort of says like he has like the vibration of a Gemini, um, which means that like I guess maybe people think that he's going to double cross them, or that there's something inauthentic about him, or he's like somewhat of like a spy, or that there's a lot of people that spy on him, or his friends do actually just like spy on him a lot. Um, or just like he has like some type of like untrustworthy aura about him. But it also like brings him friends. So maybe it's like I said, like he has like these like tattoos and stuff, and he kind of looks like tough or whatever, maybe to some people. And that's sort of how he uses his powers of attraction. But also the fact that he's a singer. So he sings, it brings him friends, it brings him relationships, it secures his financial future, it comes from his voice. That's like a prevalent message. And so moving into the 12th house, where he has Cancer, this says to me that somewhat like his connection to his mother sort of like makes him miserable. Uh, and this is the thing too, I guess, about do the way that I analyze charts and how I see the 12th house, and you know how I read charts, how I analyze the 12th house. But also interesting that I'm doing this in Pisces because it's like, maybe because Pisces have this light about them, whether it's through the way that they look or their accomplishments, or their their relationships to their friends or their relationship to their families that give them this like sense of confidence that is somewhat intimidating to other people, that might make other people somewhat like miserable to see how strong that they are and can be. Um, so like analyzing their 12th house to be like, okay, well, cancers make them miserable. But maybe it's like people who are stronger and tougher and have more street smarts than him, sort of like those are the people that make him jealous or somewhat like embarrass him. And earlier today, I was thinking about the 12th house as like sort of like how your mother might like, embarrass you, like tell embarrassing stories about you at a party when you're trying to seem like tough or strong amongst like a certain group of people. And the only person I can really think of, someone who's like sort of like the quintessence of like being a thug and gangster and strong, is like someone like 50 Cent, who's Sun in Cancer. And who also has like tattoos and stuff too. So maybe they're in some type of like tattoo competition. But it's like something about like people like him or who are muscular make him miserable, or could even be people who are somewhat like overweight and don't care so much about their appearance, as he is someone who cares so much. It could make him like very like miserable and frustrated. Alrighty, okay, so that is. Oh, and then so also, just like one last thing, because I'm just noticing this right now and I didn't mention it earlier, is that looking at his chart, I believe what I'm seeing here is that he also has Jupiter in the first house of Leo, which I believe also Justin Bieber has Jupiter in his first house of um, Scorpio, and it's like very fortunate for the way that they look, and that the way that they look also brings them like a lot of anxiety because it's like a huge asset to them. So I think that's a very interesting aspect that they have in common. Okay, so that's been my analysis of Adam Levine, Justin Bieber, and Flavor Flav's natal charts all at the same time, sort of. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I will see you in my next video. Bye.